I think the region is waiting for the Biden administration with a great deal of anticipation. I think there's not been a sense that I don't think you ever get a sense of transitions where people feel good and reassured about things. I think there's always going to be a certain degree of anxiety. I think broadly they're expecting a return to some degree of normalcy in terms of the mechanics of American foreign policy. That it's not going to be as transactional. It's going to return to the normal mechanics of dialogues and traditional mechanisms. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of questions in the minds of America's friends, adversaries, and everybody in between about what the Biden administration is going to do in terms of how it's going to prioritize its various interests. I think highest on the list is questions about US policy towards China, how the United States is going to confront and compete with China in some areas. Yet there's also a sense that, or I should say an expectation that the Biden administration will want to cooperate with China in some areas like climate change and of course the pandemic. So I think there's a question about how the United States is going to balance those different approaches. Beyond that, I think the Biden administration and the people that have already been appointed to senior positions in the incoming Biden administration have talked a lot about revitalizing US alliances and partnerships in the region, which I think is very much warranted. And the region and our allies and partners are looking forward to that. But there's questions, I think, about what the United States is going to be expecting of them in terms of burden sharing, in terms of what they're going to be asked to do. But I think most significantly, there's questions about US trade policy and the sense that the Biden administration is probably not going to be joining into groupings like the TPP or RCEP. So then there's a question, what is our trade policy going to be? What is our economic policy going to be? If not that, it's clearly not going to be the transactional approach of the Trump administration, but it's still unclear about what the Biden administration is actually going to do. And that's going to pepper questions and inform how all of our allies and partners interact, from the closest allies that we have, like Japan, to even more distant partners around the region that want to see the United States engage, want to see us there, but also are unsure if we're actually going to be able to sustain and follow through on some of the things that we've said in the coming weeks, in the weeks before inauguration.